They're murderers, they're drug dealers, and they are, in some cases, criminals. And this is probably true for all presidents.
48 minutes of dogs barking, 48 minutes of dogs barking, 48 minutes of dogs barking, 48 minutes of dogs barking. Growl! Growl! 48 minutes of dogs barking, 48 minutes of dogs barking.
A left Twitter guy posting something, and a right-wing nut job responded, and like their account was like, you know, George Bush, my favorite president, and like their bio just totally read like just absolute, like just boot in mouth, just suckling it.
Yeah.
But they respond to like, hey, no one click on this guy's profile. And actually, you know what? Because the guy's profile is nothing but people shitting. Like shit.
He's the scat man.
Sardar Ramesh, Radish Harmers.
Oh, Radish Harmers. Okay.
Yes. Sardar was responding to the Unusual Whales post of all of the fucking stocks and shit that are red, and it kind of looks like, you know, flyover country, so he just respond with people vote not land. And so the person that responded, their username is Cam Tory Gray Roach. Their bio reads America first, hashtag Celtics, hashtag Patriots, hashtag Red Sox, weirdo from the 617, I like why I like, don't like why I post, then keep it moving, MAGA.
Okay.
Their location is dirty and clean. And Anne is like the name ANNE.
Okay.
But yeah, it's all just like people shitting out their doo-doo ass. And it's just like just amazing.
So
yeah, it's 48 minutes of dogs barking. We're talking about feces already.
Yeah, I know. It's just starting. So welcome to the show. Like he said, it's 48 minutes of dogs barking. My name's Jason. That's Brian.
Hey.
It's happening, folks. We got all sorts of weird shit on the web this week, so I guess there's really no preamble. We ought to get right into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is something that's been taking over, I know, my feed. I don't know about yours, but
Everywhere.
Everywhere
Except for Instagram, it feels like.
Really?
No Vanceposting on Instagram.
Brian is, of course, referring to photo edits of Vice President J.D. Vance in extremely comical situations. This here from Gizmodo. He's being edited into the manga panel from Akira as the atomic bomb. Matthew Gault writing, like many of you, I spend a lot of time texting back and forth with friends. Many of these text chains are now inundated with pictures of J.D. Vance. Maybe you've seen them. There are new ones every day. The bearded vice president bloats, his eyes grow huge, and he's a carnival grotesque, his chin widening, his shape contorting. Often, he says, please. And then, yes, there's Mercar Forever, my personal favorite, with the propeller hat and the big lolly. I shared my toys with you. Have you said thank you once? I'm obsessed with these pictures. I have dozens saved on my phone and hard drive. There's Goth J.D. Vance with a giant lollipop. J.D. Vance is a dying Darth Vader. J.D. Vance is a nuclear explosion. Again, that Akira panel. J.D. Vance as Chicken McNuggets. For the credit there, it just says image via Discord, but yeah, it's a 5-piece McNugget, and all of them have JD's unsettling eyes and smile.
And weird pink lips. I don't like it.
Here's someone, Conrad versus Babylon at Conrad in on Twitter. I chime in with a, haven't you people ever heard of ending the goddamn war? And it's JD Vance, super thick eyeliner, big swoopy haircut.
Thicker than usual.
Yes. Vance's current mimetic form resembles that of the Groiper, but somehow less human. Groiper stares at the viewer with a little smile and a twinkle in his eyes. Chubby Vance's huge eyes empty of everything but malice. A strange thing about the bloated Vance memes is that they cut across the nation's fraught cultural divide. I've seen Vance's bloated form shared by Nazis, conservatives, and liberals. I've seen his putrid form bubbling in the depths of nasty anonymous image boards, as well as pleasant, queer-friendly discords. So yes, there's the one where he looks like the lost Allman Brother with the curly hair.
The guy the guy that's going to get really mad when you beat his ass at the Magic tournament. He's going to fucking flip the goddamn table like he's throwing the moneylenders out of the temple.
He will lose it. My personal favorite is, of course, the Baron Harkonnen one from Dune. Just really wonderful stuff. There have been a few more articles on this. Know Your Meme, of course, is all over this because I think it really started with Rep Mike Collins in October of last year posting the yassified JD Vance where he's like chiseled jaw and you know, he's got all the hallmarks of like a guy on a Marvel show that you've never watched. But then someone, of course, fixed it.
All of a sudden, it looks like Michael Hale.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Dog Boner. It's DB.
Look, as much as we love DB, I'm sorry, DB, but this guy kind of has your look too. There's a still from the vice presidential debate where they've removed his hair, so he's got this completely smooth bald dome, and there's some ones where he looks like a Turkish wrestler. You know, there's just so many amazing versions,
so many, and the intent that I saw most of these being shared with was like, I would really love for this to cause us.
Yeah. At Uncle Doomer on Twitter. Twitter is fucking unusable. I'm trying to get updates on whether World War III is on, but all I'm seeing are fat JD Vance memes.
Yeah.
He himself, by the way, did react to it, which is incredibly stupid, but yes.
Was it the fucking...
It was his face superimposed on top of Leonardo DiCaprio from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, doing the point at the screen meme there. That was actually the one that he posted, and it's kind of like, well, brother,
that's cute and all, but we still want you to fucking do it. Do everyone a favor.
I'm not saying he should, but I'm saying he's got a lot of reasons to.
That tweet that comes around every couple of months is like, I can see after reading his tweets why his mom traded him for a couple perk 30s.
Beanie hat JD Vance on the body of Edward Norton from American History X as he curb stomps Vladimir Zelensky. Just some real Garbage Pail Kids doctoring ones. There's ones.
Hard Rock Nick.
I had one where I made him face swap with Ghislaine Maxwell. That was my personal favorite. There's just some. The one where he's a minion. That's great. He's got the Uncle Sam hat and the minion face.
Oh,
just truly horrifying stuff. But yeah.
I really do want him to dehumanize himself and face the bloodshed.
Absolutely.
If this is the best we can do at this moment.
I know.
'Cause boy, the Democrats aren't going to do anything.
Yeah.
We got to take things in our own hands.
They currently aren't doing anything as of 7:30 p.m. Central and the 13th of March. So yeah. So back in 2020, Brian, you remember this? We heard about a live-action Powerpuff Girls show.
Yeah.
Now, the CW announced it via Variety. Variety put out that bit. And, it got a little bit of traction. People were reading some script pages and going, this kind of sounds shitty, actually. Well, fast forward to now, and they found the trailer.
It is shit.
It is dog shit. Here's a little sample from it with Tom Kenny doing the voiceover like he's always done in the animated series. So here it is.
Blossom was constantly stressed.
Wait, is it daylight savings?
Buttercup was constantly rebellious.
I'm not wearing that dress anymore. It's gender normative and ass ugly.
And Bubbles was constantly drinking. Go get him! And on one fateful day, the girls made a fatal error, costing Mojo his life. In the wake of disaster, Blossom ran away. Buttercup became a real hero. And Bubbles, well, she made it all the way to Hollywood Boulevard.
Hi!
Oh, Diablo Cody!
Yep.
Oh!
Yep.
Had to dust off that chestnut. God damn, man. That's like finding out asbestos is back. Dude,
Well,
that is, dear Lord, please remove Diablo Cody from your plans for us.
Now I have to keep a running tally tonight for how many different death threats we make. JD Vance, Diablo Cody, okay. But yes, Powerpuff Girls.
I didn't even get that far when I first saw it.
Yeah.
Just like this very weird nihilistic humor with CW production values and like lighting
it looks
aesthetics.
Like shit. Yeah.
So it's, God, I mean, this makes Velma look appetizing.
Yeah. Donald Faison, by the way, playing Professor Utonium. The Scrubs check's not coming through for you, buddy.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It hurts. It hurts even thinking about it. But we do owe a great deal of gratitude to Lost Media Busters who broke it. They first published it on Twitter. For the first time ever, enjoy the trailer to the canceled adult-oriented Powerpuff Girls live-action CW reboot. What awfulness have you brought upon this world, Lost Media Busters?
Yeah, I'm always interested in seeing like media that doesn't make it or stuff that got, canceled mid-season and seeing like what could have been, or like, laughing at a fucking car crash. There's like nothing.
Yeah.
It is a joyless minute and a half.
Guys like Blame It on Jorge, and like there's some really great Lost Media people out there. Really well done stuff. But yeah, like Lost Media is fascinating to me as well. That's a big reason why I'm a huge supporter still of the Internet Archive, because every once in a while you'll find something on there and be like, oh yeah, this was a thing that I thought I would never see again. The original, airing order of the Max or something,
right.
Or Sifl and Ollie episodes, whatever it was, stuff that's not like publicly
Free
available.
South or something like weird shit. Yeah.
Exit 57. Yeah. I mean, you name it. And another thing that is actually Lost Media until someone dug it back up is this video. No, I have not stopped laughing at this video for about 2 days now. This was originally posted by Bluesky user at machete.gay. Okay, now 6 months ago they posted, "My solemn oath to you, the hogs, is that my first video post will be the 64-ounce Modelo chug. What's up, all my chuggers?" Now, I didn't understand what that meant. I was already following them. And then 2 days ago, they posted this. I'm going to play it for you in its entirety, and then I'm going to explain it to you because it's just that good.
What's up, all my chuggers? It's Anderson the Double Cheeseburger, and today I'm going to be trying the 64-ounce Modelo chug. It's pretty cool because before I could never find these. I think they didn't even have them before, but it's convenient instead of just a talkin. Best beer in the game. Alright. Alright guys, let's try this out. Trying to get that burp out. I don't know what's wrong with you today, chuggers. Horrible chug. See you guys next video.
So this guy, Anderson the Double Cheeseburger, was part of a group called the Faded Family, okay? And they did all kinds of alcohol-related content on YouTube and TikTok eventually. But this video, along with many others, was removed because I guess YouTube didn't like them binge drinking on camera. And so his whole deal was he was doing these big chugs, right? He would do these challenges. I've seen 2 or 3 different videos where he's chugging 2 different handles of Mad Dog 2020. This guy was a beast. But for whatever reason, the 64-ounce Modelo chug is the most puke-tastic of them all.
So you're telling me that like when he was doing 2 bottles of Mad Dog, he was holding his own?
Supposedly, they may have cut away. I don't know.
Sure, but at least it gave the appearance of a guy that at least like was putting in some work.
They have an entire podcast that went for 30 episodes called Slurred Speech. It's him and all his faded family friends. Yeah, so I mean, like, this guy is part of a group that takes their booze seriously, but they do chugs. And the chugs, I think, is where you get in trouble. And for this one, it's 1.5 minutes long. It's the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen.
I've never seen someone boof this hard on Modelo.
Yeah.
It's not even like it's, cheap whiskey or
Right.
vodka. Like,
Yeah.
Modelo's a pretty smooth drink.
I would expect it from the Mad Dog video or whatever.
Yeah, because I'm kind of like thinking like amateur.
Yeah, you would think. But
If,
this
like,
is
you
a
gave,
guy...
if you gave me 60, if you said, Brian, can you drink these 64 ounces of Modelo in like 5 minutes? Yeah, can I get a pretzel when I'm done? Sure.
Right.
Well,
he does say, and this is one of my favorite lines, I don't know what's wrong with me today, chuggers.
it's just...
And then as he's hitting stop on his timer, because he does have a phone up as a timer, leaned up against the can of cream corn. The can of cream corn that he used to open the bottles.
I respect that move.
Oh, yeah. But he has the timer, and then as he taps, he's like, horrible. Horrible chug.
Yeah. God.
And
I think about all the times that like I slammed like a fucking tall boy like Stag Ice or something, or Bud Light Platinum, or
Ice
whatever.
House, whatever it is.
Like Modelo is such. It's not like he's doing IPAs or something. He's not like he's not doing Voodoo Ranger.
They do have a review video of a Voodoo Ranger, and he kills a couple bottles real quick, and I'm like, where was this?
Maybe I don't know. Maybe he had COVID.
Yeah, maybe he was sick. I don't know.
I don't know, but it's just so weird because like 40 seconds. It's not even like he got near the end and had to boot a little
early.
30, not even. I think it's 40 seconds in.
Let's look.
I think it's 4. It's not even a minute in. I also like the subtitle of. He's not even drinking yet, and he's already out of breath.
Yeah. See, I'm wondering if like this was like third video in a row, and he's like, "Okay, I've reached my limit."
It's possible.
So he hits the First puke is 43 seconds in.
Amazing.
And at that point, he doesn't have the trash can next to him. And someone out of frame pushes the trash can in for the next shot. It's right there. But yeah. So yeah, another.
What a waste.
It's all foam.
All foam.
And so that makes me think, okay, bro needs to put it into a cup.
That was what you're thinking, because I just felt like, man, there's just no way. And you're like, well, first thing you got to put into like a cup or a glass. And I'm like, that would make it so much easier.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, like let it rest a minute. Yeah, for
chugging out of a bottle never.
Glass bottle too.
Yeah.
There's an important distinction. You and I can chug out of the aluminum cans just fine. It's the glass.
Brother, can I?
I was going to say, but it's the glass bottle, I think, that really messed him up. But anyway, what's up, chuggers? I can't get it out of my head, and I thank you again at machete.gay on Bluesky. Not a lot of hits on the reposts, but a lot of likes, so I'm really...
Yeah. Just a quick aside here, but we're drinking these delicious hams.
Oh, yeah.
And, I just was, going through the grocery store the other day and, like, cut through the liquor aisle, the beer aisle, and just, like, realized, like, how many of the working class beers have the retro packaging.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, like... and I can't be like the only one that's like, oh, this is what beer looked like when my dad used to hit me. Oh, I should get a case. This is exactly how Milwaukee's best when my dad would get the belt.
Right. Yeah, there is definitely a weird thing like that because the Natural Light's going back to their original, Stag's going back to theirs. You're right. Old Milwaukee is also, they haven't really changed theirs at all. Stroh's is the same. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like the only ones that have really changed is Bud Light and Budweiser. But whose dad drank Budweiser? Wasn't cheap enough. Old style.
Budweiser. Who's having the birthday?
Right. We're getting fancy now.
Michelob. That was one that's fancy.
Oh, High Life? Woo, baby. That's when you're...
The Michelob and the look like a Bartles and James, but it was a beer. You know what I'm talking about,
I know
right?
what you're talking about. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I was thinking like Coors Banquet, like all that.
Oh, Reggie Coors.
Reggie
That's the nice thing
Coors.
about being on the other side of the river is Reggie Coors aplenty.
I've got a soft spot for Coors Light, so maybe that's just me. But so we talked a couple months ago, gosh, almost a year ago, about a young lady named Amouranth because she was debuting her AI assistant that would do the erotic blowjob. That was the
right.
big AI assistant. Well, apparently she was held up at gunpoint, and they wanted to steal her cryptocurrency. So this past Sunday in Texas, she was held up in her home. Now, of course, she's moved on from Twitch because Twitch, said no. And now she's on Kick. She had a whole thing about, her husband allegedly abused her and all this stuff. But someone broke into her home in Houston. And so allegedly the assailants demanded cryptocurrency access. And then she started live posting on Twitter. I'm being robbed at gunpoint. I'm being robbed at gunpoint. I believe I shot one of them. They wanted crypto is what they were yelling. They pulled me out of bed. This was a home invasion. SWAT here. Now I'm safe. 12:30 in the a.m. She showed that photo, claiming to be safe after the SWAT team arrived. This courtesy of knowyourmeme.com. She explained she did not call the police immediately because she was being threatened at gunpoint. Quote, I tweeted because calling would be a death sentence. God, the tweets continue. I'm covered in blood, but only some of it is mine. I'll update y'all later, but I'm safe now. The next post being, was at gunpoint. They gave me phone and said log in with gun to my head, and I tweeted. Apparently, they were after what she has, which is about $20 million in Bitcoin and about $80,000 in Ethereum. This is sourced from a tweet from November of 2024, so that value might actually be higher.
First of all, don't fucking dox your wallet.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, I thought we were going to talk about like some of the anti-sex worker shit that she was saying, despite being a sex worker herself. I didn't even know about this. This person's usually only on my radar when they say something really brain dead on Twitter.
Yeah, well, the anti-sex worker stuff was really stupid, and that was...
I mean, there was stuff like just like a couple days ago.
Right.
Where she was like telling someone like, oh, if you want something from me, you have to show me you unsub from someone else.
Yeah, I was not aware of that at all. All I knew is that, that she was assaulted her.
That sucks. Well, again, first rule is don't fucking dox your wallet. Wow. Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. Really insane. They're looking for your crypto, and they're going to come break into your house to get it. And again, like you said, it's a bit of OPSEC. Don't do it.
There's lots of stories I've seen on Twitter and social media of guys fucking bragging about their fucking bag. They bought fucking fart token, got 20x, bro, and all of a sudden, not doing good OPSEC, and like are at a nightclub and like Portugal and just get their shit rocked and get their watch stolen and possibly like their crypt. I mean, like just it fucking goes on.
They got rolled by some dude they didn't know. All
yeah.
That stuff, yeah. Well, Brian, I submit to you one last bit. I know we usually only do 3, but this one just hit me so hard, and I had to bring it to you. A Bluesky user at Anoni Snufftan. I'm not going to give you the context for this. Just enjoy this freak out.
I understand what is being said or implied. What I am saying is that thing is wrong and unacceptable and evil and cannot be said at all. It is illegal speech, hate speech.
Now, Brian, without any context, what would you think that this person who has gone full, I don't even want to say Sephiroth, because Sephiroth was way more eloquent, but has gone full anime villain in his speech. What do you think that was responding to?
brush physics being reduced in the American release of the new Monster Hunter game.
Not that far off. So this started at Wyatt Privilege on Bluesky, Warrior Cop, saying safe to conclude any Tesla driver is an overt racist now. Followed by Zeph Howell at Zeph Howell. It would be a shame if each and every one was burned alive in their Tesla. This guy, Anoni Snufftan, responds, this reads like you're wishing death on all Tesla owners. Explain? Zeph Howell responding, oh my fucking God, you absolute fucking idiot. Yes, the things people are saying are the things that they are saying. Why is that so fucking hard for you to understand? Yes, fuck every Tesla owner, and I hope they get nice and crispy in their car. Is that clear? Fuckwit? To which this guy responds with 2 minutes and 18 seconds of absolute insanity.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive.
Yes, he does sound a little bit like Fragmaster.
I was going to say.
You understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Humphrey Bogart, more like Hump Me Bogart.
This is a
Baggies, I've seen these. This is a Doom House.
On the internet, sis up. Yeah, he's just... What a hell of a way to die here in St. Louis. Wonderful podcast. They now go by at What a Hell of a Way to Dad. But yes, you're not going to believe this, but this guy's Reddit posts are either complaining about harassment on Bluesky or posting cartoon porn.
Amazing.
And so, yes, what a hell of a way to die. Bringing the receipts. Abuse against several users. Hate speech, discrimination, openly outright advocation of violence. But then the next post is Diana rubs out Wanda, and it's Wonder Woman. It's Wonder Woman and Scarlet Witch scissoring on the beach.
Scarlet Witch looks concerned.
Yes, the sexiness of suntan lotion silences the Loud House. That's characters from the Loud House. Slathered in suntan lotion and then looking very, very not happy about it.
I feel like Reddit should be nuked. Been saying this for a minute.
Yep. Ben over on Bluesky also saying, and this is at BVIGEANT, if this was the mid-aughts something awful, we'd have about a dozen competing Flash animations of this. We have gotten too soft. Yeah, a lot of people responding to this with, here's JD Vanceposting with him and Magic the Gathering cards. And, oh yeah, of course he does do the Wallace Shawn inconceivable in there. And it's still wonderful. I still find a lot of joy in it because this guy got really nuclear levels of mad by someone saying
so
that,
care mad.
Speaking of being care mad, it's Crypto Scam of the Week time.
You're listening to 48 Minutes of Dogs Barking, the podcast.
And now it's time for the Crypto Scam of the Week.
Now, this one is not necessarily a scam that involves you buying crypto, but this is someone using crypto to do other scams.
Oh.
Yeah. So this courtesy of Fish Me Cofense. Cofense, a blog about internet security. Gannon Max on the intelligence team here writing, an email campaign. Spoofing Binance claims to deliver an opportunity to claim recently created Trump coins. If victims follow the instructions and download, quote, Binance Desktop in order to get Trump coins, they instead install ConnectWise Rat, which is a malware. The threat actors behind this campaign are eagerly monitoring infections and can connect to infected computers in under 2 minutes. This campaign took several steps to impersonate Binance, such as using Binance as the sender's name and including a risk warning in the email, which is more likely to make people trust that it is legitimate. The threat actors also took great pains to make the website hosting the download appear legitimate, as can be seen here, and it does look like Binance.
About as good as I've seen from a spoof.
There has been a security awareness that went out about that, and it's just truly something else. We've now got multiple layers of scams, right? TrumpCoin itself was a scam.
Yeah, it is completely fucking bottomed out. I don't know if you looked at the chart lately, but I don't know what's a sadder looking 15-minute chart, that or the Proud Boy coin, because they both just like the Proud Boy coin just goes up and immediately down.
Right.
I mean, like just within like an hour, just craters. The Trump coin, the little double top and a dead cat bounce, and now it is like 96% down.
I just think it's double funny. Like, alrighty, we know Binance is kind of... I mean, Binance itself is also kind of like, well, this is... Maybe we shouldn't trust Binance.
The fucking CZ was...
I know.
Telling people the name of his dog. So he could... And, like, was kind of the whole meme coin thing. And, is this like, fuck. I do sometimes feel bad for the actual developers, the actual crypto devs. They're like doing like the fucking finance nerd shit and realizing like, well, if we actually wanted to like make money, we could have just done like fat inward season coin, which is like something that's blowing up.
Jesus Christ.
And shit like that. You know, the fucking memes and like, oh, okay. Like what did I go to fucking ITT Tech for? And do all this ketamine.
But yeah, like spoofing Binance to get Trump supporters to click on a thing to get Trump coins, and then you've got their computers. And you know a lot of these people who are falling for this, they don't
fucking know.
They don't got 2FA set up on anything. They're as soon as you've got remote access to their system, they're hosed. I mean, that's pretty much it. We don't have any kind of figures on how widespread this was or how many people this hit, but oh boy, when you've got Cofense putting this out, it's already too late.
Yeah, it's all right. People are fucking hosed.
So, Brian.
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with the Man2Man Alliance?
I am not.
I was reminded of this via something awful. A thread on the C-SPAM forum, which was funny politics shit you remember. But then someone brought this up, and it unlocked. It was a Proustian reverie. The Man2Man Alliance is a website about gay men who reject anal sex in favor of frottage, which is rubbing your dicks together.
The nobleman's pursuit.
That is how they frame it, essentially. I was also reminded of it by our good friends there over at 1900hotdog.com. That's Sean Baby's new site. Merritt K, who's another pro follow on either Bluesky or Twitter. They did a special fucking day back in September of last year, and I think it's a very funny read. So I'm going to dig through a few of these paragraphs here, if you don't mind.
Of course.
Younger readers might not know this, but there used to be more than 6 or 7 websites. People owned their own domains, and when I say people, I mean human beings with names like Steve and Dark Lady 89, rather than demented flesh golems named Elon or Mark. They would open up Notepad, write some crude HTML, and put their unfiltered thought about Hostess fruit pies or bad children's art online. And then they would go outside without a combination GPS game console internet browser insanity inducer on their person. Some of these sites experienced an early version of what we would call going viral. At the time, that meant that they talked about them on the radio, or you got an email about them from your uncle who worked in IT. A modern user of social media is exposed to over a dozen time cube level events in an hour of scrolling. Well, today I'd like to talk to you about a site that can be more or less described as a time cube full of dicks. Welcome to Bill Weintraub's Man2Man Alliance. Yes, that is the website. The first thing I need to tell you is that all the title text of this site is actually made up of images. Bad 90s web design, yes. Looking at the Man2Man Alliance on my 1920 by 1080, my eyes are bouncing back and forth across 3 good-sized phalluses worth of visual real estate. It feels like I'm doing EMDR, but the D stands for dicks. In the Man2Man Alliance, the D always stands for dicks. So yes, here it is.
So it's funny he mentions EMDR because there's 2 different ways of doing it. You have like the following like the red light or something like that. There's also closing your eyes and having 2 paddles that vibrate alternatively.
Yes.
And Some of those paddles that they're used are a little phallic looking.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, the D does still stand for dicks, my dude.
Yes, my wife is an EMDR certified. She goes, yeah, I want to do EMDR on you. I'm like, get those things away from me. Get that out of my face.
The res vibration unit is a little too much.
Speaking of getting off, the Man2Man Alliance, fraught men, toward a new concept of M2M. This here from the main page, Man2ManAlliance.org. Man2Man Alliance is a coalition of gay, bi, and straight identified men who practice fraught, phallus-to-phallus sex, who reject anal penetration, promiscuity, and effeminacy among men who have sex with men, and who put forth the truth that one man can love another without any surrender of either's masculinity. Bill Weintraub and Luke Shelton wrote this forward. Fraught, rhymes with hot, is the contemporary term for the male same-sex erotic practice formerly known as fraughtage, full body, phallus-to-phallus sex, done face-to-face and heart-to-heart. The Man2Man Alliance is a coalition of gay, bi, and straight identified men determined to win recognition from both gay and straight society of the genuineness of their feelings for one another and of the validity of the expression of that affection through fraught, phallus-to-phallus sex, which is not only life-affirming and masculine, but mindful of both participants' shared mutual enjoyment. The Man2Man Alliance website, then, and our affiliated heroic homosex domains are advocacy sites dedicated to putting forth the truth that two men can have a physically and emotionally loving relationship without any surrender or sacrifice of either's masculinity. Yeah, you guys rub your dicks together. It's fine.
Yeah. Hog to hog.
This is where it gets interesting. While gay male culture has become obsessed with anal sex, incessantly asserting that anal is the ultimate expression of erotic contact between men, and that no sexual encounter is complete unless it culminates in an act of anal penetration. Yet the erotic pleasure in anal penetration is so minimal, and, when joined with promiscuity, the dangers anal presents to its practitioners and the community so great that it's difficult to conceive of a practice more ruinous or less enjoyable taking center place in a sexual subculture. These dangers, of which HIV/AIDS is the best known, but which includes syphilis, gonorrhea, hepatitis C, papillomavirus, herpes, and a host of other pathogens, will persist even after AIDS has been cured or can be prevented through vaccination. And more anally transmitted diseases most certainly await discovery.
The moist, undiscovered jungle that is my Bussy. The Bussy that time forgot.
Gorillas in the Bussy, yes. Bang the Bussy slowly. Yeah, I don't know.
When Bussy falls apart.
It goes on. For anal penetration is an exceptionally efficient mode of disease transmission, and we can be sure that pathogens will continue to find an infective niche in anal. In addition, no magic or wishful thinking can transform either the anus or the rectum into genital organs, nor can the feelings experienced by a man being penetrated anally be compared to those of genital stimulation. Further, anal penetration subjugates one of the participants to the other, effectively emasculating him, turning him into a pseudo-woman, a proxy for heterosexual contact. This is an inherently unequal act, epitomized by its tedious terminology of tops and bottoms, which is unmindful of the basic human need for a shared experience without pain and with dignity. Whereas fraught, phallus-to-phallus contact, is the acme of sexual activity between men, because it's focused on that which makes men masculine, namely their genitals, rather than their excretory system.
May I respect your penis and touch it?
Yes, I respect your penis and will touch it as well.
That's uncomfortable.
And because I did the deep voice.
Apparently, when I'm like flirting with someone,
Yeah.
my voice gets real hushed.
Yeah.
A friend once described it as like, yeah, I know when you're trying to flirt with someone because you starting to talk like you're not trying to scare a deer away. Like, oh, look, there's a deer over there. Oh yeah,
It's more common than you think.
more common than you think. Yeah. Oh yeah, you've heard the new Gouge Away record? Yeah, it's real good. Yeah, it's cool shit. Yeah, I got to actually photograph. You know, like
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, Oh shit.
I start catching myself when I like start talking a little bit. Here, let me just keep doing this.
Yeah, just keep doing it. It's fine.
If I've caught myself like, oh, I'm trying to fuck this person. I'm just like on autopilot.
You weren't even aware of it?
We're even aware of it. Yeah, I was like a Gundam. The fuck Gundam.
So on this page here, it's the Fraught, the next sexual revolution. It's two guys, each wearing a red scarf, or is it the same scarf? Can't really tell. But they're touching dicks.
Oh, they're like that that famous shirt that was sold at Sex.
Sure.
The punk rock shirt, the two gay cowboys.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
I
It was
don't,
an infamous
actually.
shirt. Like Sid Vicious was one of the first people, and it's two gay cowboys. They're like dick to dick, facing each other like that, and one of them's like adjusting the other's like bolo tie, and it's like it's very like Tom of Finland kind of vibes. But there's like the caption is something like I'm not feeling the scene anymore. It's getting a little too queer.
Yeah. So this all started with Bill Weintraub writing Fraught, the next sexual revolution, written for the periodical Gay Today, its online zine. This opinion piece was the first shot fired at the national gay press in our club's battle to get recognition and validation for our sexual choices and to spark a debate about the future of gay male sex life. If you didn't catch it online, take a peek here, and here it is. For 25 years, ever since gay male culture took a turn to the right, in 1975, anal sex has dominated both the gay male psyche and gay men's sex lives. Whereas previously sex had been a smorgasbord, with oral sex, J.O., frottage, and anal sex seen as essentially equal, a new and rigorous definition of good gay sex appeared in the mid-70s, in which the first three were considered foreplay, and only the last regarded as the culminating and therefore essential gay sexual act.
I'm curious as to why he did not talk about crystals.
The J.O. crystals.
The J.O. crystals.
I think that's included in J.O. I think he's got that kind of wrapped
and
up in there. He does kind of sort of have a point. Bill Weintraub, again, the writer of most of the stuff on this site. Gay men who didn't like anal intercourse found themselves put into a category that just a few years earlier had been reserved for all homosexuals, adolescent and immature. Right? Their sexual choices were stridently belittled, and they were often told that they themselves were not truly gay. And so it goes on about peer pressure, and the phrasing in here really culminates right here. The cultural death grip that anal sex has on gay male life is so thorough that it's equal to the stranglehold that heterosex once had on all sexuality in America. 30 years after Gay Lib first took on that smug, complacent group of social arbiters and moralists it called the heterosexual dictatorship, gay life is controlled by a buttfuck dictatorship.
The Boo-Foo dictatorship. Amazing. Yeah, this guy's got a hang-up.
That he later on refers to as the BFD, by the way, the buttfuck dictatorship. I mean, and again, these essays are very, very long. Here he goes again. What is emerging is a culture conf. And unless the analists become far more tolerant of their gay fraught brothers, over time the conflict and distance between the two camps will inevitably grow. He starts with, okay, this is a choice I'm making, it's different. And he ends with, fucking culture conf. The struggle of the against
culture,
against the gay, the anal sex,
So you don't like the butt fuck, bro? Like,
okay,
yeah,
fine. But then again, he brings it all back to it was the democratic and homosex Greeks who first had this vision of humanity. We in fraught are promoting that vision sexually. We fraught boys and CockRub dudes are confident that the days of the buttfuck dictatorship are numbered, and we are certain that the future is ours. Copyright 2000. Okay, the year 2000. 25 years later.
25 years. Yeah.
I don't know that the buttfuck dictatorship has any less of a hold on pop culture, but
the gay mafia has certainly lost their stranglehold.
Now, again, he's not necessarily wrong. It's just that he's going about it in a way that kind of suggests a return, all caps kind of guy. But this was the year 2000, you know? He says this is an interview from Gay Today. He says, I came out in 1972 in Boston, right? A very different place from New York, LA, or even DC. Boston had a small but very cohesive, committed, and intellectually lively gay and lesbian community. Free love was in flower. So as far as I could tell, no one sexual act was placed above the other. So it was a wonderful and liberating time and place to be gay. I'm grateful to have been there. The interviewer, Jack Nichols, does say, you know, he's a brownie queen, you know. Anal sex was not chic. Bill Weintraub is, you know, well, it's somewhat amusing to me that some people have sought to label what I'm saying as extreme, even though the idea that much of our sexual behavior is culturally dictated and changes over time and place has been at the core of academic discussions about sexuality for 2 decades, and of course corresponds to our own experience. So it's hardly radical to assert, as I do, that we have at present a cultural dominance or tyranny of anal sex that shapes and guides the sexual behavior of the overwhelming majority of gay men, and in doing effectively pushes some and coerces others, I think a great many, into having a type of sex that they don't really enjoy and would not, on their own, aspire to. So again, he presents it in a way in this interview.
Like, that's like a pretty well-spoken argument.
But the website is very different from...
Yeah, it's very time cube. You know, it's a guy working through several sexual hang-ups, and like,
yeah,
no shame in that. It just comes off as peculiar to read.
Right, because he goes from in this interview saying, well, you know, anal sex is a sacred cow and yada, 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 to saying things like there's a butt-fuck dictatorship and there's a culture conf. Like, whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
You've gone a bit far afield here, man. But the website did wind up in, you know, places like the Washington Blade. But my personal favorite was CockRub Warriors. And here's some fan art of two buff warriors standing tip to tip.
Amazing.
Yeah. Oh. And some great, you know, dick-to-dick porn, some classic stuff from like the 80s. Oh, here it is. This is the FAQ. What sex is? What is sex anyway? Is it sticking your dick in a hole full of shit? Or pretending your anus is a vagina while grimacing in pain and worrying about fatal diseases? Or is sex about pleasure, dicks, squirrel, don't know what that means, hard-ons, coochie, cocks, cranks, and the friction of super sensitive skin on skin? Celebrate your independence from the BFD, that's the butt-fuck dictatorship, dude, by reading our hot photo essay entitled What Sex Is. It's 2 guys rubbing their dicks together. You'll be glad you did, warrior bro. This one's super hot, like our very own American sexual liberation, liberating too. Here's another one, 2 guys jacking together. CockRub Warriors rule.
A little different than tunnel snakes.
I don't know. I think Butch would have, but
Butch would have been a cock rubber for sure. He seemed like he'd go with anything. It's like What If Time Cube, but about gay sex.
Reading these interviews and like learning about this guy Bill Weintraub, you get the sense that like he came out in the 70s in Boston, where you'd get your ass beat, right? And this was a real hard time to be a gay man, and like maybe you didn't want to do anal sex. Okay. There's plenty of other ways to fuck, right? But then turning it into this entire thing about, I keep coming back to the fact that he used the phrase culture conf. It's like, that's a little
funky.
A touch on the nose, maybe a little too much, brother.
Yeah, a little much.
Tense, sexually charged stories of warrior hate and unrelenting cock combat. Like, maybe there are some issues to work through there, Bill. Man2Man Alliance.org. The FAQs. Okay. Are fraught men gay? Answer. Some fraught guys identify as gay, some as bi, some are straight identified. But most fraught men understand that those gay, bi, straight labels are meaningless. Fact is, it's normal and natural for men to have same-sex needs and desires. Throughout history and in all cultures, men have had sex with men. And fraud itself is a masculine, natural, very low risk, and very hot way for a guy to connect sexually with another guy. I love sex with women, but I've always considered myself straight, yet I have fantasies about going cock to cock with some other dude. Does that mean I'm gay? Answer, no. Like we said in the first question, it's normal and natural for men to have same-sex needs and desires. In fact, fraught dude, men have had sex with men since the beginning of time. Throughout history and all cultures, men have had sex with men. And it's particularly common for guys to have fraught fantasies because they discover as kids that it feels good to rub their dicks against the sheets or a pillow. And then as teens, they often have experiences of getting hard when wrestling or roughhousing or otherwise having body contact with a buddy. So if you're into women and you also think about going dick to dick with a guy, you're just a normal average guy. Society may not tell you so, but it's true. If a guy does anal and fraught, can he be a fraught man? No. There are some men who are into anal who also like to rub dicks, but what defines a fraught man is that fraught is his primary M2M practice, and he doesn't do anal.
Some interesting rules here in this oddly progressive mindset.
Cock to cock equals life, by the way. A great.
Noted.
Can you get an STD from fraught? Answer, because it's non-penetrative, fraught is a very, very low-risk activity. There has never been a documented case of HIV transmission through fraught, and the risk for diseases like syphilis and herpes is extremely low. That is why public health officials like Dr. Jeffrey Klausner of San Francisco describe fraught as safer sex. Although most fraught men have never had an STD, in theory, you might be able to get genital warts, HPV, through fraught. Your best protection against STDs is to know your partner and not be promiscuous. For that reason, and others, fraught men, the Man2Man Alliance, and heroic homosex all support fidelity. All right, there we go. What about oral? There we go. Fraught men and the Man2Man Alliance are neutral on the question of oral sex. Some fraught guys do it, some don't. What we encourage guys to do is to make realistic assessments of sexual pleasure and risk. Because realistically, that is based on the facts rather than what's fashionable or politically incorrect, fraught is most pleasurable, anal is least pleasurable and most risky, oral falls in between. In 69, although the genitals aren't directly touching, there is mutual genital pleasure. On the other hand, oral puts you at the risk for a lot of STDs, whether you suck cum, let a guy ejaculate in your mouth, or not. Thank you for explaining what suck cum meant, by the way,
confused.
Bill. Yikes. Yeah, so again, there's so much to read here. I don't want to get way too far into the weeds, but the long and short of it is he's got people saying, there's a guy from Missouri, by the way, so alone in my love.
Missouri Warrior speaks.
Yeah, I think this will be our last bit here that we're going to read from this, because again, there is so much.
It's surprisingly a rich website here. This is not a single serve one page.
No,
this is not buying a tiger or an otter or a bear.
This is not bonsai kittens. This is
a real ass website.
It's a real ass website. So here it is. So alone in my love, a Missouri warrior speaks. Dear fellow warrior. This is a remarkable autobiographical statement from the man I call Warrior Missouri. Bill, I am a complete stranger to you, but after I read your story, The Fight, and then went on to read about you and Brett and cock rubbing, I feel as if we're joined in spirit.
I feel like we would be depraving our listeners if we didn't read off the man's email address.
You're right. You're absolutely right. It is harryman4u_99@yahoo.com. Please do not harass this man via email.
If you are a fellow CockRub Warrior and you're looking for kinship,
sure.
Yes.
But again, yes, harryman.
I don't feel like we have the kind of listeners that would.
You never know. I don't know.
Like that does not seem like a 48 minutes of dogs barking listener kind
You're damn
of activity.
right. You're goddamn right. If you're a 48 minutes of dogs barking listener and you're out there harassing people who are on, that are the creators of these websites or write about their rubbing dicks together, shame on you.
Now, as always, if it's someone that's openly proud about doing improv comedy,
very different story.
Very
completely
different story.
I am a 48-year-old white male, and I've been gay as long as I can remember. From the first experience I had with a neighbor teenager god, I was about 6 or 7, he was 17, I don't feel as if I were molested. He helped to open my eyes about my sexuality. And the sex we had? Cock rubbing. Now you may ask, what pleasure could a 17-year-old teenager get from rubbing cocks with a little boy my age? To be honest, I don't know what pleasure he received, but he was rock hard, and I even got to stand and watch him jack off and shoot a big load of cum. That was the first of many great times I had with this young man. As I said, this, to me, was not, and is still not, a case of child molestation, but a time of great memories. When I was in high school, my mom remarried, and the guy had a son and a daughter. The son was blonde/blue. We fought a lot. That's what stepbrothers do, right? We both loved to have on our tight jeans, no shoes or socks, and no shirt, and roll around gut-punching each other and pressing our bodies hard against the other. Then, one night, he and I got into a wrestling match in the privacy of our bedroom. We rolled around on the floor, arms and legs tangled together, switching the top position. I was hard in my jeans, and I could feel his hardness through his. In one of our rolling exchanges, he ended up on top and started grinding his crotch into mine. I rolled him over and did the same. This went on, back and forth, each being on top, each grinding the other, until his sister blew into our room, much to our chagrin. But later that night, when we'd all gone to bed, he climbed into my bed and we went at it again. First with nothing but our jockey briefs, then totally nude. We did this for the next few years, even after his biological mother got custody of him and his sister. They'd come and visit every other weekend, and every Friday and Saturday night, either his bed or mine would be the hot spot for our cock-to-cock grinding, ending up with both of us spreading our love juice between our stomachs. His father became ill, ended up taking his life, and I've not seen or heard from my stepbrother in years. I often wonder what he's doing, and if he remembers our hot, sweaty entanglements. He understood what it was to only want frottage sex and no anal, and I miss him. He was a stepbro, but my best friend. And I really loved him because he loved me, and we both loved frottage a lot. We could hardly wait until everyone went to bed so we could have our fun together. But after his dad hung himself, Jesus Christ!
Yeah, that one's a little rough.
I remember the day of the funeral. He and I were in the bedroom, and I just hugged him and held him close and cried with him in his pain. I think we kissed because we knew it was over for us. I don't even know if he's alive today or not. I'd love to find him, even if it was just to talk. I have since then had a few other meetings with other men, but very few just wanted to rub cocks with me until we unloaded. It always came down to, let me fuck you, which I would do, but hated every second of it. I felt so alone in my love for other men and in the way I wanted to show my love. In fact, I felt so alone that I fought to push these feelings aside and married a woman 8 years my senior who was a virgin, but not of my own accord. I let peer pressure and the fear of being revealed to my family, friends, and the small town we lived in make a decision for me that led down a path of ruination for over 26 years. The bright spot is that I have a son who is straight, but I don't hold this against him. I have since then left my wife and gotten a divorce, but am a lonely person. I feel I'm running out of time because of my age. I want a lover, masculine man, who is like Brett was, someone who would enjoy the thrill, heat, complete and total exhaustion to the joyous end of the culmination of our cum by rubbing our cocks together. I just don't think there's anyone out there for me, at least someone to whom I'd be attracted. Anyway, I just had to write and thank you for sharing part of your life, your intimacy, through your stories. It lifted my spirits and let me know that I'm not an abnormal homosexual. Thank you so very much. With deepest regards, Warrior, Missouri. And thank you, Warrior, Missouri, for sharing your story with me.
Real shit. I feel like a very interesting glimpse into the struggles that gay people had 20, 30, 40 years ago of
I was going to say,
identity and acceptance and feeling wanted and comfortable. That's a lot.
And feeling pressured into doing a type of sex you didn't want to do. And like, the more I read about CockRub Warriors and Man2Man, I was like, first it was like, haha, funny, rub dicks together. But then I'm like, wait, this is actually legit?
Some of the ways it's presented is a little goofy and very much of its time. But there's a lot of stuff that I've seen just, us discussing this for the last half hour or so. Just like, it's like it feels like a legitimate feeling or viewpoint. Like it doesn't feel, aside from, the butt fuck dictatorship.
Yeah, some of the language maybe is a little extreme, There's some stuff where maybe Bill has gotten a bit strident in his anti-BFD stance or whatever, but I feel like there's a lot of raw pain out there.
What he needs to get down for is BDS.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I don't think they allow fraudage in the IDF.
No, I would imagine not. just thinking out loud, probably
Ben
no.
Giver has never known the pleasure of dick-to-dick contact.
I don't know, man. I kind of think he might have, him and Chris Wallow just going at it. But anyway.
All right. Well,
all right. That means it's time for shock.jpg.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
Shock.jpg.
Now, after Dick to Dick, Man to Man, CockRub Warriors, how are we going to top this? Well, brother, have I got a video for you.
I'm terrified.
It's called When Life Gives You Lemon, Brian. Now, what could that possibly mean?
My mind goes to places.
The only place you'll have to go is chaotic.com. That's right. Friends of the program, back at it again. This added to the website just 2 days ago by user Black Blade. Here we go.
Huh.
And as a young vagina haver, as a young woman with the wood paneling in the background, and you see it, and the video starts, it's 30 seconds long or thereabouts, and there's a lemon just emerging from the asshole. And you think the video's over, but then something else starts worming its way out. That's right, there's a lemon in the vagine. Then it pops out, and then right at the end of the video, right as it clips off, piss goes straight to the air. It's beautiful. It's a work of art, Brian. Oh.
It's fantastic.
We've had so many weird things in asses and vaginas in the past 3 years. 2 lemons. I didn't think 2 lemons would be the one.
When life gives you lemons, you shoot them out of your orifices.
And then piss.
And then piss. I mean, I've been saying it for years.
Whom amongst us has not done so? I thought it was like, okay, lemon in the ass, cool. And I was like, oh, wait. Hold on. This one comes with a prize.
Oh, jeez. Put that on your fridge.
All right, well, I guess that means it's time. Not much to talk about in the shock.jpg. Pretty cut and dried. Not much else to go into there. That's right. It's breath mint time.
It's time for your mom's favorite part of the show. It's time for the breath mint.
What do you got for us this week?
Saw Mickey 17.
Ooh.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Em enjoyed it. I had shown Parasite to her a couple nights before, and was seeing how that would go.
Okay.
I think that's a pretty grounded bong film.
From what I understand, Snowpiercer is closer to what this movie actually is like.
It is much more like Snowpiercer.
Yeah.
I would even say has less subtext than Snowpiercer.
Which is not a subtle movie, by the way, for those of you who haven't seen it.
Well, I think what makes it a little different is this is based off of a book.
True.
So he's got a difference of a different structure to work with, different skeleton. Robert Pattinson is fantastic. Apparently, he's doing a Steve-O impression.
Oh, wow.
That's like apparently where he got his voice. So for those of y'all who don't know, Mickey 17 is about a young man who escapes Earth to be a part of a experimental colonization program on a distant planet called Niflheim. The expedition is headed by a politician who is played by Ruffalo. Playing Kenneth Marshall, who is doing what has to be a Trump impression. Just an absolute fucking empty-headed dingbat. In this futuristic world, human cloning has become a reality, and it's been banned on Earth because of implications. But what has been approved is that for these colonial expeditions, for there to be a expendable, which is a person who is basically, their job is to do dangerous shit, to die. So every single time Mickey dies, a new body is printed out. Memories are restored into his brain, so his memories like backed up like every week into a literal brick. and it's a fun little sci-fi movie. Again, not a lot of subtext. You're not going to get a lot. It's not going to be. There's no line like, you're getting paid to do this. It's going to hit you like a brick, like in Parasite.
Yeah,
but it's fun. There's some really great performances, great direction. But to get back to the plot, his buddy, who's played by Stephen Yeun, leaves him for dead on this planet once they get there, thinking that the local monsters creatures are going to eat him. Mm-hmm. But turns out the local creatures are non-violent, and they save him instead. But because Steve Yeun's character, Timu, thinks that he's dead, he reports that he's dead, a copy is made. So then there are duplicates.
Okay.
So there's Mickey 17 and Mickey 18. And Mickey 18 is a little bit more of an asshole, a little bit more assertive. There's some times where you feel like he's channeling his Batman performance a little bit in a way that's fine. I actually like it. Yeah. But seeing that not every clone is a perfect reproduction, because Mickey's girlfriend, he relays that, that apparently there's different Mickeys that have had. One Mickey was a little too clingy. One Mickey was a little too emotional. One was, there's variances. Not each one is perfect.
Okay.
So all of a sudden, Mickey 18 is kind of an asshole and tries to kill Mickey 17. And it really becomes a story about Orange Man bad. It feels a little bit. It's not necessarily subtle in that. But Mark Ruffalo is killing it. Coming off of Poor Things.
Yeah.
The same kind of despisable asshole, a little less dumb, or a little bit dumber, I would say, than his character in that previous movie. Kind of like, this is reflective of how we treat workers in a capitalist society, and this is a hyper-capitalist society, because what's more capitalistic than having someone that you can kill over and over again?
Right.
And it's your fucking job, bro.
Yeah.
Like, they get to the planet, and like one of the doctors on the medical team is like, "All right, Mickey, I want you to take a deep breath. Like, there is a terrible unknown virus in the air. I want you fill your lungs." And he's like, "Okay." And he does it, and then he dies from the virus. And he dies from the virus multiple times for them to find a cure so they can walk on the planet without a respirator. It's good. It's got some really great direction. Again, some really great performances. It's not going to light the world on fire like The Host or Snowpiercer or Parasite did. And I get the feeling that Warner is probably regretting having backed this movie because it is underperforming super hard. But they also released it. They originally were going to release it in January, which is Graveyard.
Yeah.
And then they moved it to March, which also isn't... I mean, Dune came out this time last year, but
Dune is Dune.
But Dune is Dune, and they also didn't do a great job promoting this movie. Even though some people are estimating that they spent hundreds of millions of dollars on promotion. We saw like a 5 o'clock showing on Monday after it came out, and I think there were not even 10 people in the theater. So that kind of felt like a little odd.
Yeah,
there was like, there ain't fucking anyone in here. But it's funny. It does make an argument about like, look at the hellscape that's awaiting us. And like, if we get human cloning down, like this is a possibility. But it's ultimately like a coming of age, kind of a love story. It's definitely anti-capitalistic. It is a bong movie. I enjoyed it. I would suggest if you are jonesing for a fun little sci-fi movie with something to say, and some really great performances. I've said that like 8 times now, but it's a joy. It's just one of those movies where like even if I weren't invested in the story, it's just fun to watch people choose scenery. Yeah. These absurd characters, these insane predicaments. Stephen Yeun is just a dick. Like an amazing kind of just like everyone's had that fucking friend.
Yeah.
And yet it's your friend in fucking space that sends you up fucking shit creek without a paddle. Like it's a little different than your friend in space that like owes you $5.
I don't know, man. I feel like there's not a lot of room between those two.
Anyways, what you got, big dog?
At my children's urging, I saw the film adaptation of the Broadway musical, which was based on a book, which was based on a movie from the 1920s, which was based on a book. That's right, Wicked.
The movie with the terrible fucking lighting?
Let me be the first to say, Wicked sucks ass. I'm sorry. People cream their
Ariana Grande
jeans.
looks like she just got rescued off of a boat that went missing for 2 months.
Everybody's passing around the Ozempic on the set or something, but
To pass around the
yeah, they're like, take a hit of this. Like, all right.
Yeah, sure, whatever. I party.
But the movie itself is, it's got a lot of problems. It opens with the end of Wizard of Oz. So it opens with the death of the Wicked Witch, right? And then it's like the people in Munchkinland burning an effigy of her. Now, it doesn't literally do the, I bet you're wondering how I got here, record scratch shit. But it kind of feels like it does because then it like goes back to the day of her conception. A very strange movie. It's implied that the Wicked Witch is the Wizard of Oz's kid, illegitimate. All sorts of weird shit happening in it. Now, I read the book a long time ago when it first came out, and I was like, oh, how are they going to figure in all the weird sex shit in this movie? Thankfully, they didn't. They just kind of cut a lot of that because they also cut a lot of that for the musical.
Right.
It's still just like, it's one of those things where like, who is this for? Who is it for? The musical numbers mostly suck. The costumes are great. The performances are all right. They're serviceable. The songs are, with the exception of Defying Gravity and Popular, mostly bad. There's not a lot of things to do with this movie besides look at it and go, ooh, pretty.
Yeah, it kind of feels like Chicago.
Yeah, well, at least Chicago had an interesting story. This does not.
And John C. Reilly is...
John C. I mean, even Richard Gere in Chicago was interesting.
Right,
He played an interesting character, at least. There's very few of those in this movie, with the exception of Michelle Yeoh, and she's barely in it.
Well, I've heard most of the criticism is how it was made. Because everything, it's a lot like Cruella.
Yeah.
Where it's all shot for fucking post.
Well, again, Cruella at least is visually interesting, and the music choices they make are great, and like it doesn't feel like it wears out its welcome, and it actually feels like it has something to say. Despite the dog shit way it says it, it still feels like it has something to say. Wicked, on the other hand, says nothing, means nothing, has nothing to say aside from, hey, there's a musical, and it was really good, and this is the movie version of that. Da-da-da-da.
We need money.
Well, and what really pissed me off, this movie's 2 hours and 40 minutes long.
Jesus Christ, man. Why are you doing this to yourself?
2 hours and 40 minutes long, and it is part one. The film ends with the musical number for Defying Gravity. That is the halfway point of the stage musical. Unacceptable. I can't go any further into it without really raging myself into like some sort of mental breakdown, but I will say this. Ariana Grande. It's a Howard Stern thing. Whenever they mention her name, and they play audio of Wendy the Slow Adult trying to say it, and Ariana Grande. But Ariana Grande, there is nothing about her performance that makes me go, "Yep, she was the one to do this." It could have been anyone. There's a few voice actors who play animals because there's a whole subplot about animals are losing the ability to speak because the wizard and whatever. Some of those actors, great. Jeff Goldblum is the Wizard of Oz. Great.
You can stick it in my ass. You're saying you're my daughter. Oh, interesting. Wow. Okay. Oh, don't look behind the curtain. What am I doing back there? Oh, I'm not. There's no one back behind. Pay no attention to the guy sticking the Wizard of Oz up his ass.
Exactly. There's not a lot to write home about. And it's 2 hours and 40 fucking minutes, most of which is songs, but there's only 2 songs that I remember.
That's bad, man.
That's bad. With the musical,
because I feel
that's
like there's, comparatively, like the Batman.
Yeah,
is about that same length. But guess what? That movie I've watched that movie probably like 4 times. Dune is like a similar. Dune 2 is a similar.
Yes.
Both those movies move at a really good clip. You're like, oh shit.
Wicked feels every minute You will feel every minute of this movie.
I'm not into that. That's not cash money to me.
Like I said, I cannot tell you enough to avoid. Watch the performances for Popular, watch the performances for Defying Gravity, and maybe one of the other two songs in between there, the one we're in the library. Again, I can't even remember the name of the fucking song because it's not that great. But the plot is bare bones and stupid. The acting is, again, save for some bright spots, just all right. It's just, who is this for? Is ultimately the question that I always have to ask about a movie. And the answer to this one is, it's for theater kids and people who are obsessed with the musical and or also the Judy Garland film.
Yeah.
Because those are the only people for whom any of this shit means anything. Everyone else who is not obsessed with those things will go, what the fuck was that? Why did I just spend 2.5 hours watching that?
I don't know if you remember me a couple months ago being like, that looks like fucking hot dog shit.
Yes, because we had mentioned that it went to wicked.com, which is a porno site.
Yeah. And then I actually like felt like, oh, I started reading it like it's not that bad, but I'm like, no way. And then my main thing of why I won't watch it, because it's another movie that doesn't have like an aesthetic identity.
It really doesn't. It looks like it was all shot on the volume. It looks like it is desaturated to hell and back. It has that weird flat gray affect of everything post Endgame with Marvel has done. It's color graded in the wrong way. No single scene. You couldn't pull a single scene except for something that happens in Emerald City because it's fucking Emerald City and that's where all the money went. Aside from that, you couldn't pull a single scene from that and make me go, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, there was a YouTube video that was going around like a week or two ago where a guy was making a point about like, why does this movie look like shit? And it's like, well, we got rid of all of these filmmaking techniques so we can have stuff that is good for post work.
Right, they're shooting for post versus shooting to shoot the movie.
You're shooting for special effects, so everything has to be really like it has to be a really malleable file with lots of dynamic range and stuff. And goes on to say like you look at fucking Seven, and that movie looks like fucking money every fucking frame.
Even the bullshit 4K restore that they just did, which had David Fincher going in there and like fixing doors
and like fucking up the fucking highlight. And the shadows.
Adding the old Coca-Cola logo onto a soda cup in one scene. Like, what the fuck is that? Who is that for, David? Yeah. I didn't notice that. I sure as shit didn't notice it, and I've watched that movie a million fucking times.
Yeah, I mean, that's aesthetically one of my favorite movies of all time.
It's so grimy and gross.
And, but, the YouTuber made the comment, it's like, I don't even think Dave Fincher knows how to make Seven anymore, and showing some of his more recent stuff that's the same kind of, you can still see some stylistically it's David Fincher, but like it does feel flat.
Yeah,
it feels. Where's the light coming from? It's just omnipresent.
Anyway, what do you got for us? I could go on about how much this movie sucks, but I could go on.
I had insomnia this morning, so I watched the season finale for the current season of Invincible. Not too shabby. I feel like for a show that's kind of hard to look at sometimes in its graphical simplicity, and last season kind of felt like it wasn't going in the right direction. It felt like, but they kind of got back together here, even though apparently they've been taking a lot of shit out of the narrative from the comics.
Yeah.
And the last episode is the fight between Mark and Conquest, and
which dovetails nicely with the end of the first season with the fight between Mark and his dad, Omni-Man. So it's kind of a nice little dovetail. The comics could have ended there. Thankfully, they didn't, because there's a lot of interesting shit coming up.
But this was a good episode. There was actually some animation that kind of like made me sit up a little bit, like, oh wow, that's actually like well done. Because everything feels, a lot of the animation in that show feels really like minimalistic, like, yo, we gotta do a season a year. There's actually a couple of sequences where I'm like, wow, that's actually surprisingly fluidic for this show. But Jeffrey Dean Morgan is voicing Conquest and trying really hard not to be Negan. There's a couple times where he kind of gets into it a little bit, but it's not bad.
I've seen some clips, and I definitely heard it.
A little bit. You can tell he's trying to read. It's the same way with Walter Goggins as Cecil, not trying to sound like Walter Goggins too much.
It's hard for him.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all he does.
You know, Seth Rogen is Alan the Alien.
Right.
I mean, Seth Rogen's not necessarily a voice actor in the sense that he has a lot of voices, but like he knows how to use his voice.
Yes.
And it works well for that character because that character is a little bit comic relief.
Right. Well, I mean, you mentioned him in Mickey 17, but he's the lead here, Steven Yeun.
Yeah.
He really does not sound like himself.
No,
at
and
all.
he sounds good. There's just like, I would say the vocal performances are what makes that show sing more so than anything aesthetic. As far as comic book cartoon adaptations, this is pretty well done. It's has some interesting concepts. None of them are like super deep, but like much like The Boys, it feels like it's a respite from the whole like Marvel Cinematic Universe shit that's been kind of shoved down our throats for the last 15 or so years. So it feels refreshing. Again, it moves well. It's got a good pace this season in particular. It's kind of funny when you realize like all of a sudden like, oh, this character is parrying like this mainstream comic, and they had to do things a little differently because apparently in the comic, some of the stuff that happens in season 3, there's a lot of Image comic crossovers like Savage Dragon, a couple others, but they couldn't do that
right
for licensing reasons, so they had to kind of work around that, and that was interesting. But like there's worse things you could watch.
True. Well, I will say, if you like how weird and violent and gross Invincible is, if you're looking for something that's in that same vein, I gotta give it up to Creature Commandos. I am big on that.
I had fun with that.
And I know that Creature Commandos is DC, but only barely. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's fun. It's I watched it. There's a couple episodes that dragged, and apparently it's supposed to be canon with Suicide Squad, which is interesting. But it has a couple episodes and some character performances that are really. It's it was a thing I had on when I was like going through the mail. I fuck with it.
For my last thing for the Breath Mint tonight, I'm going to bring to you 2 different documentaries created by a guy named Alex Novell, senior producer and editor for Media Matters for America. So this is a guy who knows his shit, right, about editing and doing pseudo-documentary or documentary type of filmmaking. He did a bunch of filming in the past couple of years. It took him 3 months to put all this together. Kick streamer Mr. Based, whose real name is Jason Itzler, who, if you remember, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, was arrested because he had a prostitution ring in New York. He was on fucking Howard Stern about it. So he got out of jail and he started doing kick streaming. And then he hooked up with this young guy named World of T-Shirts. And he basically became this World of T-Shirts guy's mentor / caretaker / slave master. It's very strange. It's a very strange story. But yes, so the first documentary is called The Twisted Tale of Mr. Based and World of T-Shirts. And it opens with with Alex saying, "You want to know how I got this scar on my forehead? I'll tell you." And then it's a feature-length documentary. These kick streamers and the shitty living conditions they all live in, and how they're drunk and high all the time, and just these really bizarre stories. It also turns out that in the course of this documentary, he was able to give Miami prosecutors information to solve a 15-year-old cold case about a murder. It's fucking fascinating. It's free on YouTube, and it says it was released 4 months ago, but I just caught wind of it because he did a follow-up, a second documentary just called Mold Mansion, and it's more kick streamers, the degenerate hype house for kick streamers, Mold Mansion. Now this, of course, Alex Novell also did the YouTube video, I discovered the secret truth about Red Scare, and then in parentheses, they're fascists. So you kind of know where he's coming from. Boy, the degenerate hype house for kick streamers, Mold Mansion official documentary is the full title. Alex Novell put this out 2 weeks ago. I've watched it twice. Again, it's 90 minutes. It's a feature length. Taken together, they're this slice of life about these people who on Kick are getting donations for being complete degenerates, I think is the only other way I can put it. It's fucked. The whole situation is fucked. And then this Mold Mansion thing is another group of streamers. Zaddy Zavid, a hoarder who runs the house. Mando, the guy, I don't know if you remember this, but he was live streaming himself taking a shit on what turned out to be Nancy Pelosi's driveway. Susie, a Trinidadian little person who is drunk all the time. It's super fascinating. It's dark. It's weird. And you start to get this sense that, like, you know, you and I talk about Conor O'Malley and about how he kind of nails a very specific...
The fucking white dude suburban hip-hop thing he released like a month or two ago.
Rap World.
Insane.
Well, he just put out Pipe Rock Theory.
Dude.
Yeah.
He's been releasing a couple other clips of him doing like the
fake podcast.
The fake podcast. Like, you know, there's a devil has another devil. Got Pipe Rock Theory. Yeah, I'm not a pedophile. I'm releasing a whole entire record of music that's completely non-pedophilic.
Non-pedophile versions of R. Kelly songs. That's what.
That's right.
Yeah, he got and his name is like Kevin Podcast.
Well,
so what Conor O'Malley is doing is kind of like the joke version of these people, these kick streamers that Alex Novell is getting into. Because, like, just any still from this could be from a Conor O'Malley video. It's all terrible. It's all in these shitty apartments with the drop ceiling, and everything's got mold on it, hence Mold Mansion. The tale of Mr. Based is even crazier because there's stuff with, like, yeah, you know, we are in the hospital because Mr. Based found out that I talked to the cops about this murder case and he assaulted me. They got recordings with cops, and I mean, Alex Novell has done a lot of work, and here he is with the red string and the corkboard. But despite it sounding insane, he presents it in such a way that's both entertaining and also like, wow, this Mr. Based guy is completely fucked. Yeah, he went on a podcast a mere hour after getting assaulted. So here he is with his head wrapped and he's got blood on his face.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, just truly baffling. Definitely give those a watch. They're really worth it. Well, I think that means it's time for us to tell people where to find us online. Brian, where can they find you and harass you and tell you about their 15-year-old cold cases?
Oh, geez. You can find me on Twitter at iShockydebord, ISOTGUIDBORD.
Mm-hmm.
You can also find me under iShockydebord on Bluesky. You can find me on Instagram at a music photographer. You can check out my portfolio over at assholemusicphotographer.com. You can also check out the last and only good media website in St. Louis over at theartsstl.com.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got, Jason. What you got?
Oh, boy. You can find me any place there's video crime. That's going to be me. VIDEOCRIME. That's Twitter, Bluesky, Letterboxd, wherever it is. Chances are, if there's video crime, that's me. You can also find me on a show that's not this one. It's called Submitted for the Approval of the Midnight Pals. We're working on some really funny stuff coming up soon. We're going to be doing a whole bunch of really great stuff, including like fake voicemails and stuff. There, on that podcast, I play a fictionalized version of horror author Stephen King. Mm-hmm. That is midnight-pals.simplecast.com or anywhere fine podcasts are sold. If you yourself want to get a hold of this show, oh boy, have I got news for you. You can find us a number of ways. My personal favorite is the telephone, 314-246-9766. That's 314 AHOY POO if you like to spell with your telephone. You can also shoot us an email, Jason at 4 minutesofdogsbarking.com, Brian with a Y at 4 minutesofdogsbarking.com. Let us know what you think of the show. Send us your letters, your recommendations. If you want to tell me that I'm wrong about something, please do that thing. But the best way to tell us that we're wrong about things is, of course, to support the show on Patreon. Patreon.com/48minutesofdogs. There you will find our post-show hangout that we like to call Thanks I Hate It. We freak out a little bit and call it the Mind Zone. We're also working on a few other things, including the punishment tier. If you join at the $10 level, you can get yourself in on there and tell us what you would like us to do for money. Previously on the punishment tier, we did a 90-minute commentary track on the Japanese puke fetish video, Garo Monster Home Delivery.
If we can get 10 subscribers at the $10 level, Jason will give Prince Albert and let it get infected.
That is not legally binding. I am not going to abide by that. But if you have ideas,
we're gonna get some. We're gonna have you stand in waist high still water in an abandoned neighborhood over by the airport.
Nope.
And
nope. I'm calling it.
I got one of my guys over in Iron Age.
It's gonna do it wrong. He's gonna botch it on purpose.
Your dick's gonna get legionnaires.
Nope, I'm good. I will, on the other hand, do the 64-ounce Modelo challenge if you really want to get in there.
Jeez,
what up, chuggers?
Father of two, bravely drinks 64 ounces of Modelo
in
for
4 minutes
for ALS.
In 4 minutes. In 4 minutes. That's not nothing. But anyway, if you got ideas,
I feel like I'd have to mow the lawn first or something. I'd have to get myself worked up a little bit.
Get yourself a bit of a sweat going. But if you've got ideas, by all means, let us know. Other than that, well, I guess that means it's time for us to say all the things we usually say, which is namaste, good luck,
eat the knife,
who ate all the pussy,
and of course, give mommy a good gut fucking.
That's right.
That's right, everyone.
Have a good night.
Peace and love.